Alright, so welcome back to the Big Bad Bench. I'm John. I'll be your host for today, and every day I do a stream. So I recently found a Packard Bell Legend 316SX in a barn in Massachusetts. And so I wanted to do a quick little stream here, see if it's working, and do a little dissection first. Let's see what this thing looks like. I'm gonna start off by putting some gloves on because I'm kind of worried how nasty this thing might be. So if we do a little visual inspection on this, we can see it's actually not in awful shape. The front cover is kind of nice, and I don't know if there's something missing from these front corners. Looks like there might be something down there. We might be able to see that when we take it apart. You see the sides in decent shape. It's dirty, but for something that's been in a barn for, I don't know, 20, maybe 25 years, it's not in terrible shape. If we go to the back, put that down gently, you can see we have PS2 mouse, keyboard, 2 COM ports, and built-in VGA. No additional ISA slots or whatever. I don't know it's most likely going to be ISA. No additional ISA slots in here. The thing that kind of worries me is this little hole right here, which would be for the modem port. Generally, if you have a little hole like that, it provides a nice little space for critters to pop on in there. So hopefully there hasn't been anybody living in this guy. So let's pop this cover off and we'll see what we have on the inside. And I guess the warranty void sticker had already been opened, so I guess we don't have to worry about getting our warranty. Sorry about that noise. Alright, well, this is actually kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting to see 72-pin SIMs on this guy. So the model name 316SX makes me think that we're dealing with a 386SX16 computer. Let's go a little closer here. Oh, look at this! Look at this little heatsink that's on the processor there. So that does look like an SX processor. You can tell the difference. I don't have any 386s right here, but you know, a 386 is normally going to have an array of pins on it, and the SXs were generally tended to be like soldered on processors. Let's look over on this side. So we have an IBM hard drive. This is pre-click of death days, so maybe this thing is still functional. I don't know, we'll find out. 85 meg hard drive. Very cool. Let's see here. How do we get this thing apart? A couple of screws up in the front here. So that should get the hard drive off. Very nice looking hard drive. I like these square drives. No curves on these bad boys. Alright, so you can see we're dealing with an AT power supply with one of these extension cables or I don't know, boards, rails that goes down to the switch that's inside the power supply. So this is kind of interesting. I don't quite understand how to get the floppy drives out. So we have, oh, okay. Alright, now I get it. So we have screws on this side. But on this side, you can see that there's screws coming up from the bottom. And there's no way to access them from the bottom. But if we look here, there's a little bit of a gap. So I have a feeling the screws slide into some kind of little slot things. And so I just want to get this thing apart so that I can be sure that there's no little critters living underneath here or anything. And plus, when I first take things apart, I like to reduce the potential load on the power supply. Okay, so you can see, yeah, there's little slots, and there's like screws with shoulders on them that slide into those slots. Interestingly, this drive wasn't attached. I didn't pull that off, I don't think. So again, there's one screw on the floppy, which makes me think that the 3.5 inch has been removed at some point or replaced. Most likely have. Oh, nope. Never mind. I'm wrong. There's another screw in the front corner. Alright, so this is really great. I had expected to see a battery explosion when I opened this thing up, but we have a CR2032 battery, so that means that we're not going to get leakage, most likely. There's some jankiness down in this front corner. Let's zoom in down on there a little bit. So I don't know what happened with that connector. I don't know if it came from the factory like that, or if that was some kind of little modification. You can see we got our beep speaker here. But yeah, I don't know exactly what's happening there. Let's see, how hard would it be to get this motherboard out? Looks like we're only dealing with one screw. Oh look, we do have critters. Little spider. Be right back. Actually, I'm gonna go blow this thing out, and I'll be right back. So I safely delivered the spider outside, so he's all good. She's all good. Whoever. I hear something rattling around that I'm not really a fan of. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Need a flathead screwdriver. Need a smaller flathead screwdriver. Rail. Take out the riser board. So that's nice. 3 ISA slots in a nice little. This is a relatively tiny case. Huh. So this is kind of funny. So we have some tape covering up some standoffs in the case, because the standoffs hit the back of the board. So this is interesting. So the motherboard, the BIOS chip, says IBM on it. I don't remember Packard Bell being related to IBM at all. I'm wondering if someone swapped out this board for a more different board. Now I kind of want to take that heatsink off of the processor. Let's boot it first. Okay. Don't know what I heard rattling around. Maybe it was just this hard drive indicator. Yeah, I'm starting to think that this motherboard has been replaced at some point in its history. Kind of ingenious. Typically semi-proprietary form factors like this, you don't often see motherboard swaps. I actually I'm not a big fan of that of this packing tape. I'll be right back. Let's just put a little blob of electrical tape on there real quick. So this might actually be kind of interesting, because if this were really a 386 SX16, it's kind of a boring little processor. It's semi-castrated, right? It's gotten half of its RAM bandwidth restricted, and it's relatively slow. The 386 SXs came out, I think it was 3 years after the regular 386 came out, and then they had renamed the 386 the 386DX. So the regular 386 and 386DX had 32-bit memory access, and the 386SX had 16-bit, so it was kind of restricted. So maybe if someone actually swapped out this motherboard, we might have a somewhat faster computer. Oops. It's also interesting, you can see here there's RAM, there's RAM. This is most likely the RAM for the video card, which is a Cirrus Logic 5422, which is actually kind of a nice ISA. I don't know if that one was also VLB or not. I know it was definitely an ISA version. Kind of a nice graphics chip. For those days, obviously. But for someone to go in and find a motherboard with a riser that would fit into this case, that's kind of shocking. Alright, so I blew out the power supply a little bit. I didn't do an extensive job. Let's plug in our power supply cables. Always want on these AT power supplies, you want the black lines put together. Let's turn this, connect up our VGA. No. Alright. Oh, there's that screw. I knew there was a screw rattling around. So if we look on our VGA port, it has this pin blocked off. My VGA cable has that pin, so we're gonna need to do a little modification real quick on that VGA port. Yes, this is a little barbaric. I'm sorry. Avert your eyes if you're sensitive to mangling of old VGA ports. Going to mark the center. Put a little, just using my utility knife to put a little mark in the center of that pin location. And now we use the screwdriver bit to drill a little hole. I don't like using drills for this because, you know, drills tend to have like a little bit of, it's a little too violent, and this plastic tends to be pretty soft, so you can do this pretty easily. So you can see we now have a hole there. Let's see if the VGA cable actually fits. Beautiful. Oh, and let's give it a keyboard. You can see it came with the original keyboard. I'd say there's probably a nice amount of mold on that keyboard. So I want to give that a thorough cleaning. It's one of the reasons I wanted to make sure to wear gloves when doing this one. Alright, so you know, there's two PS2 ports. I'm not sure with this motherboard which one would actually be keyboard. Oh yeah, I should have noticed it on the outside. So if we go from the back here, right, we can see our PS2 mouse and keyboard, but the imprint on the metal is showing a serial port, a printer port, or parallel port, and down here we have our keyboard and mouse. So I should have noticed just from looking on the outside that this was a motherboard swap, but it's okay. Normally with these AT switches, if it's out, that means it's going to be off. So I can feel that's in. Now we're out. Plug that in. Alright. So we'll take a little gamble and say that the left port will be the mouse. Or the keyboard. And let's see what happens with this thing when we power it on. So let's leave this here. Alright. Hold my breath. 3, 2, 1. Fan in the power supply is spinning. Let's switch to our VGA. We got nothing on screen so far. Oh, we got beep. So that's interesting. Got a double beep. Alrighty. But nothing coming through on my VGA capture device. Let's try it again. Make sure I'm on it when we turn on. Alright, are we getting anything this time? No. So, guess what we should try to do is switch over to the monitor. This thing came with a monitor. And then, yep, there's our beep, but we're not getting anything in my capture device. So let's plug, shut that off, and let's. I need a bigger batter bench. I think I only have this much space. I'm not normally used to working on a computer with a CRT monitor on a Surface. So the fact that we got beeps is really encouraging. I'm excited by that. Let's kind of put those in there. Put that cover back on. So you can see this thing's pretty nasty. Probably be starting a fire just by plugging this in. Let's come out over here. Sorry to get you seasick. Alright, so let's see if this thing catches fire. We got high power turned on. That's good. System. All the way on there. There we go. Satisfying click. Oh, look at this. We have Post. This is definitely something that you see in some IBM systems. Battery, which I would have expected. Let's enter to run the configuration utility and let's see what this thing looks like. 386 SLC processor with 10 megs of RAM. How awesome is that? 10 megs of RAM on 386 SLC. Alright, the keyboard's working, so that's good. Shut this off. Oh, there goes the deoxit. So let's pop a hard drive in this and let's see what happens. We think we should go for the original hard drive. I think so. Although considering how modified this system's been, it might not be the original hard drive, although 85 megs for a Hewlett Packard 386 SX sounds like a decent match. Gross monitor. So honestly, I am a little bit disappointed that the original motherboard in it wasn't in it. No, some rando IBM motherboard compared to a real one, but we'll be okay. Hard drive spun up. That's good. CRT monitor or a LCD monitor. My VGA capture device isn't working right with this computer for some reason. Actually, let's try it now that we're inside the BIOS and see if the VGA will work now. Give you a nice shot of that keyboard. Is this gonna work now that we're inside the BIOS? Nope. Huh. That's disappointing. This little VGA adapter I use has been pretty reliable. Let me grab a LCD monitor real quick. Wicked dirty. Sorry about that. I'm just still totally shocked about the capture device not working. The capture device works great on old Macs and stuff, and every other PC I've tried on it. It's just weird that it's not working with this one. Give this a look. Yes, I am a professional. Look at that. Alright, let's get out of here, save. Let's start this thing. Look at that. Booting right to DOS. Got a real nice, the hard drive seek noise on this one is nice. I'm enjoying that. Oh, I don't have a mouse installed. Oh, looks like we're going right to Windows. Alright. And of course the first thing to pop up is the Windows games. It looks like they have the Windows Entertainment Pack here. Oh yeah, look at all of them. We're gonna have some fun in Windows. I was not expecting Windows. So if you've just joined the stream, I was expecting this thing to be a 386 SX16. And it has proven to be a 386 SLC. Wow, look at this thing that just popped up. Have a DOS Explorer. Type Ps2. Oh, maybe the hard drive was out of an IBM PS2? Huh. That's interesting. Let's see. Backslash. DOS 6.2, fairly high tech. Alright, so I think what I want to try is let's plug in a little CF card with some other stuff on it, so like MSD. Let me try. Oh yeah, I forgot about MSD. I was gonna get Norton Utilities, but yeah. Got a 386. Yeah. Whoa. That can't be right. So IBM PS2 model 70/80. They didn't have ISA slots. They had microchannel. So this is kind of interesting. I'm gonna have to do some more searching about this. It seems more like a IBM, like a PS ValuePoint, like one of the more later ones. Alright, let's shut this down. I'm going to grab a CF card. Pop this on here. And let me grab a mouse. Yeah, the other thing is, it's really weird that it's saying, or that MSD says that it's a IBM PS2, because PS2s didn't have BIOSes that you could access from a menu like that. You had to have install hardware on it, or install floppies. Tuck you in there safely. Sure. Yeah. So if you want me to archive this hard drive, I'm happy to do that. I can find somewhere to upload it. Get that fancy IBM software on there. Lets you more easily access your Lotus. All right. So this automatically detects. Oh, yep. Automatically detected my compact flash card. I probably should have hit shift. Oh well. Oh yeah, it's gonna want to load some drivers. Get out of that. Alright, so it's a 3D6 SX25. Let's just do a quick memory test. Oh, it's not going to let me do the extended because I loaded the memory manager. Got good memory. Let's see if it'll run Doom. It's been a while. I've been in Mac mode for the last month and a half or so, so it's trying to get my brain wrapped back around PC stuff. So this is from Phil's Computer Lab, a nice little utility to benchmark stuff. Let's do the Doom. Look at that tiny little Doom screen. Alright, so it's cranking. I'm actually surprised at how smooth that is, even though, you know, it's obviously in the smallest settings possible. But yeah, if you don't mind, you know, playing with your zoom goggles on, you can play Doom pretty smoothly on this little beast. Good job, little 386 SX25 SLC 25. Interestingly, I happen to have a coprocessor. Oh, unfortunately, I don't know if that's showing up on there. This is a 3D7 coprocessor, but it's a 16 megahertz. So we got 2134 game ticks and 3596 real ticks. So what does that equate to? I forget my math. Oh, I can't get it hooked up to my computer here. Let's see. 596. 20.77 frames per second. That little guy is cranking. Alright, so 20 frames per second in Doom from a 386 SLC 25. Exciting stuff. So this thing seems to be fairly stable. I'm kind of surprised. I was expecting... Oh geez, I broke it. Alright, so come back to our top view. Yeah, here's another shot of our motherboard. This is interesting. I'm gonna have to go and do some searching and see what this was actually out of, and do some more testing and see if this riser card actually was for the original Packard Bell, or if it was part of the IBM. Because if it's part of the Packard Bell, it might not work. And if you look at this, there's a gap here, a key, and there's no associated key in the motherboard. So I have a feeling that this is not from, or it's not associated with this motherboard, so this riser might not work at all. So I'll have to do some more extensive testing. But we have sort of a functional 386 system with a fairly nice Cirrus Logic video card in it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end this stream here. I just wanted to sort of catalog or immortalize what happened when I powered this system up. I always hold my breath when I come across a barn find system and try to boot it up for the first time. But we had no fires, and the system basically works straight up. I can't believe this hard drive booted straight up with no issues. So again, you know, this has a CR2032, so I can swap that out, and that would work fine. Keep the BIOS settings after that. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by. Yeah, get subscribed. I'll post an update when I get this hard drive archived and uploaded. Yeah, thanks for stopping by.